Hello, hello, hello. All right. So we're going to go and turn that music off. Um, and we're going to get right down into it. I actually might have to adjust my model a little bit. Oh, okay, hold on. Let's, yeah, I'm going to have to adjust my model a little bit because I was using the little gremlin avatar last time around. Always a fun one. All right. And then we're gonna have to. Well, let's just flip that around. And flip. All right. Well, there we go. And there we go. All right. So last we left off, I believe we were 3/4 through the game, like exactly like 75% of the way through the story, and we had just Maya had her first change, and she was kind of in the midst of learning the ins and outs of being a werewolf. So we'll just go back right into it. The plan. So our rite of passage, basically the challenge that Maya has to do in order to prove herself officially a Garu, is to stop the logging. I believe we chose the option of ruining the company's public image. Let's turn the sound down a bit. Well, actually, I might have to turn my own volume down a little bit. There we go. I've also have a cat on the desk. Amy, go. All right. Let's start the chapter. Excuse me for just a moment. Okay, I'm back. I am sorry about that, everybody. So the kid I babysit, I kid sit every once in a while. He's one of my he's my coworker's kid, and uh, he's a really sweet little kid. He came over to show me um little animated videos that have been around for like 16 years. the, oh, what was it, like the I Like Trains, and like just these little like 2-minute animated videos. There were like 3 of them in a row, and he was like, "Oh, I want to." My mom told me to show you this video. It's 1 minute and 55 seconds long, and it's like he's just a sweet little kid. He's like 10, but anyway, back to Werewolf. Hi, Kaylin. How's it going? Um, I just got back from the stream being interrupted by one of my coworkers' kids. He wanted to show me some really old internet videos on his tablet. It was really cute. But yeah, so we basically just started. How old? Oh, you ever seen the I Like Turtles video? Oh no, it's not gonna make you feel ancient. It's gonna make me feel ancient. Cause I remember those being popular in like when I was in middle school. Yeah, I told him, yeah, I remember when those were popular when I was in middle school, when I was, when I was about a little bit older than him. He's like 10. And he was like, "Oh, I've been watching them since I was 6." And I'm just like, that's they're pretty old, bud. They're pretty old. I thought you meant the I Like Turtles. Oh, no, not the Vine, but the little like animated video song. Scared me. Now I kind of want to see it, like how old that video actually is, but I want to say it's at least like I want to say it's probably a good like 16, 17 years old. I don't know. Um but anyway, back to Werewolf. Let's see. I woke up in my bed in the B&B. For a moment, thought the whole werewolf business had been a dream. Then I heard a startled breath, looked up, and saw Anya looking at me with wide eyes. "What happened? Where were you?" she asked. "I was scared shitless." "And what was with you sneaking in through the window in the middle of the night? Naked?" She raised her eyebrow. "I did some crazy things back home, but I've never partied that hard." "Yeah, I got startled by a stray dog on my way back, panicked, shape-shifted, and ruined my clothes again." There was so much to talk about. I didn't know where to start. Kind of worried about Anya. We've been kind of putting her through a lot, kind of. "Are you alright?" I asked. "I was worried about you." "Yeah," said Anya, scratching her head. "After we were separated in the forest, I got lost and somehow ended up here." "Didn't you see anything," I hesitated, "unusual?" "Had to go the long way around to avoid the hunters, but apart from that, it was just the forest at night," she said. "A bit scary, but nothing unusual." So Pat was right. The human mind couldn't cope with seeing a Krynos. And when the delirium ended, the subconsciousness patched the holes in their memory with something rational. "But how are you feeling?" "I'm alright. Sorry for disappearing so suddenly," I said. Because what else could I say? "I'm thinking let's tell a version of the truth." I got lost in the forest. Technically, that part wasn't a lie. And then I stumbled on the activists, and it kind of got carried away. Hey Ellie, how's it going? We are werewolfing it up. I packed my bag in silence. I felt a rift growing between me and Anya, and I felt a sudden urge to tell her everything. Ooh. It's going? Okay. Let's tell her something she could understand. Couldn't tell her the truth. I was a Garu and I had a sacred duty to protect the veil hiding us from mortal eyes. But I could tell her something. I learned something important about myself, I said, and I had to follow it for a while. Sorry for the sudden change of plan. I sighed and continued packing. So, are you leaving? Asked Anya. What about the forest? I shrugged. Whatever the answer was, it was now Maya the werewolf's problem. Maya the student was dead. I'll be in touch. Anya hugged me. You'll figure it out. I sighed, took my bag, and left. Alright. Dropped my bags in camp and went through the plan one more time. They expected me to act like a Galliard, and we'd also discussed other plans, both more physical. Alright. I'm thinking... let's go to the wolf's den. Needed something to boost morale and bring us some good PR. My idea of live streaming a day in the Pushcha was met with enthusiasm. Let's plan the whole thing with Daniel. Daniel knows about the forest. Daniel decided that a walk to the old wolf den would be our best option. It was a scenic trail. Daniel was great at telling the story, and being in the place connected to his patron would certainly help him be more convincing. We needed some extras on set. Needed authentic human emotions, so we asked some of the activists to join us on the trail. Anya also decided to come. Planning it all took a few days, but finally we were ready. We gathered the crew and set off well before the sunrise. It was early morning. The forest was a mosaic of light and shadow, all hazy and rustling. But the path Daniel chose was clear and sharp like a ray of sunlight. Before we set off, Pat gave me, as she called it, a spirit-enhanced router. I turned it on and we started live streaming our adventures. I could feel warmth deep in my body. The Pushcha was glad we were there and made sure our walk was pleasant, nudging the wind toward us when it got too hot and making the sunlight more golden on the leaves. But I couldn't relax. Something was wrong. No human would register it, but I heard it as clearly as I heard Daniel. A low, angry growl. Wolves, I realized. I could hear their steps, their paws gently treading between old leaves and fallen branches. They were hunting, and I realized, as the hair raised on the back of my neck, they were hunting us. I nodded to Daniel, letting him know that he should take the humans away from there. Then I saw her, the wolf mother. A pack of wolves followed her, spirit-ridden, their eyes smoldering. "Stay as you are, cub," she said gently. "You swore to me. Let me have my revenge." I felt my blood become hot, my body shift. We could just stay human. I do not want to fight the patron spirit of the Sept. Let's stay human. I could just stay human, not interfere, let her kill some random people and have her revenge. The thought crossed my mind. Oh, okay. Let's change. Let's hack in Krynos. Pain hits me like a wrecking ball. Every bone in my body breaks and moves and resets. I roar in agony. Panting and growling, I rise and rise and rise. I am an 8-foot-tall killing machine. The world becomes small and suddenly I see these tiny, foolish creatures. Let's hunt. Hardly run toward them, leaving the humans behind. I smell the 5 little whelps, not fast enough to run from me. Let's play. They don't hear me coming. I grab one of them and gently throw it away. I hear a whimper. The air smells of fear, and I love it. Let's growl. Growl at them and they start circling around me. Takes a lot to not just kill them here and now. They howl and growl. It doesn't matter. Let's roar. Roar at them, they whimper and jump back. Oh, how irritating they are. I stomp. Stomp and bare my fangs and they finally flee. And I'm done. We probably could have just done that in Hispo. I realized Krynos... Well, I was kind of expecting a fight, but it seems like it was just spirit-possessed wolves, so I think I probably could have done that a little more differently. My body reset itself to the familiar shape. Bones broke and fused again. Muscles and sinews moved under my skin. I cried and thrashed. Then I was human again, with keen eyes, nimble fingers, and a silver tongue, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Krynos was good at intimidating the wolves. Yeah, that's true. That is true. I exhaled with relief. My friends were safe and I managed to avoid a bloodbath. Yeah, we ended up burning through all our rage and willpower, but I think in the end it was worth it. You definitely don't want to attack a patron spirit of the cairn. The stream was a success. The internet was on fire, and Pushcha Białowieska suddenly became a trending topic. I was slightly envious of Daniel's fame. I was kind of envious of Daniel's fame and the influence his story was having on people. I knew my work was important. I knew that if it hadn't been for me, the stream would have ended in tragedy. But damn, I wanted that. I wanted to tell people stories that would move them that much. Good job, Olga said when we met that evening. And great job it was. Alright. Couldn't wait for the set meeting that morning. The streaming was my rite of passage and I knew that I did great. Couldn't believe I made it so far. We met soon after the sunrise in the same clearing where I woke up for the first time as a Garu. Lisa looked at us all and smiled. Our patrons were looking at her expectantly. So she stepped towards the center of the clearing. I am the third of this sept, and I'm here to make sure we do things the right way. She turned to me and I held my breath. Maya, come forth. Are you a cub who seeks recognition as an adult? I am, I answered solemnly. Are you an applicant to a tribe? Lisa asked again. I am, I answered. Who speaks for the cub? Lisa looked at her septmates. I do, Daniel stepped forward. I am Fargaze of the Red Talons, Galliard of the Mourning Wolf Mother Pack. I observed the cub on her mission, and I am here to tell the story. Did they all have secret werewolf names? I shook my head, thinking that the whole thing had strong cult vibes. Has the cub passed her challenge? Asked Lisa. I knew how it all happened, but I held my breath nevertheless. She succeeded, was the answer. She fought bravely against overwhelming odds, and she's succeeded. Have you chosen your name? Lisa turned to me. My new secret name. Suddenly I remembered my grandfather talking about his old friends. He never used their real names. They were always Thunder, or Gray, or Needle. I'd always thought it was a gorilla thing, some kind of war names. Now I wasn't so sure anymore. How to capture my whole life, my aspirations, my personality, my heritage in one name. I cleared my throat. Mist, a name with more than one meaning. Pison, which is Polish for song. Pine, a tree in the forest. Enigma, a mystery. I like the Polish word for song. I'm leaning towards that direction. Yeah, let's do that. That seems to fit. I wish I had a pronunciation for that. Ah, nope, don't go up. Okay. My new name, Pison. A song, I answered, thinking about what inspired me and how I inspired others. She is in a tribe with another matter. Okay. So we can pick Black Fury, Glasswalker, or Bonar. Well, Olga did kill Cordell. I don't think Maya would want to be a Black Fury. And when we talked to Pat, Maya and her didn't really relate with each other. Glasswalkers definitely did not, like, Pat did not match her enthusiasm for the Pushcha as Maya did. So I don't think Glasswalkers would be a good fit. So I'm actually leaning towards Bonars. And I think we'll go that way. Because Kim's pretty cool. After getting to know all of them better, I decided to become a Bonar. Kim agreed to mentor me. Only one thing remained to end the ceremony and make me a full-fledged Garu. I had to join the pack. I'd already sworn to the Wolf Mother. Well, darn. Yeah, we did promise that we'd let the Wolf Mother have her revenge, basically. As my fate had already been tied with the Wolf Mother, I chose her as my patron and joined Olga's pack. There was no love lost between me and Olga, but I was a valuable addition to her pack, and she was good enough a leader to recognize it. According to ancient rites, Lisa painted the mystical glyph of my tribe on my sternum. It disappeared after a moment, but whenever I closed my eyes, I could feel its warm touch between my breasts. Pison of the Bonars, Galliard of the Morning Wolf Mother pack, welcome to our sept, she said solemnly. Howls rose towards the sky. They sang about ancient laws of war, status, and secrecy. I remembered only a few. Combat the worm, wherever it dwells and whenever it breeds. Submit to those of higher station. Respect those beneath you. The veil shall not be lifted. I threw my head back and howled with my sept. I was a cub no more. I was ready to tell my stories. To earn my place in the pack, to howl my own songs. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lilith, for the posture check, the hydrate, and the stretch. Boy, howdy. Pison. Oh, Pison is the pronunciation for the name. Cool. Awesome. Good to know. The storm. Alright. Thank you for the pronunciation lookup, Kaylin. I appreciate it. Alright, next chapter. It was one of those blistering summer days when the asphalt melts, the grass withers, and the air smothers those brave enough to step outside. Despite the heat, it felt like the whole village was at the funeral. I could have sworn that the game ended around here. I guess I'm mistaken. I guess it might be a little bit longer than I thought. I stood there, surrounded by people weeping over their loss, looking at the rosaries they clutched in their fists. Something tightened in my chest. The body of a hunter had been found in the forest. The circumstances of their death were unclear. Actually, no, I might be remembering it wrong, because I did take a very different path from the first time I played this. Listened to the funeral hymns, and I thought that for my every battle-inspiring song, there was an old... excuse me. There was an old lady singing Eternal Rest in a trembling voice. I could feel the tension seething around me. This death, this funeral had pushed the community, already weary and frightened by the recent disappearances in the forest, to the edge. The world was watching. The press had swarmed to the funeral like flies. I could hear them squawking about eco-terrorism and aggressive vegan activists. The police were watching the crowd with disinterest as they leaned lazily against the trees. It had become political. Suddenly, Pushcha Białowieska had become politically charged and the hottest place to be in Poland. And it wasn't only local politicians and activists from both sides who caught wind of the commotion. The Minister of Environment himself had driven to Białowieża to attend the funeral. He was standing next to the priest conducting the ceremony, surrounded by police and what looked like a handful of bodyguards. The coffin went down, and the crowd stirred. Everyone started lining up to throw a handful of dust on the coffin or put flowers on the grave. "Just look at them," said Lisa, joining me. "Nobody wants us here. They fear us, but would never admit that." Wished things were different. "They have their reasons," I sighed. "I wish things could be different. They would want us gone even if we weren't Garu," she scoffed. "From the outside, we're activists fighting for the Pushcha. For the locals, we're just strangers barging in and telling them what to do with their lives." Let's get some rage back. But we just understand more than they do. The stakes are too high to let sentiment stop us. Nevertheless, she was right. The crowd was not happy seeing us there. And the minister knew how to use that sentiment. I watched in disbelief as the priest handed him the mic. He wasn't someone you'd call a good speaker. He repeated some platitudes, but it was clear he'd only come to show his face and tighten the leash of the local logging companies. The crowd listened, silent. I realized the conflict was only going to escalate. We had public opinion on our side, and we planned to use it to push back against the government. Oh, I had to dig for that one. They kept giving me Spanish. Oh boy. It was high noon. The sun was at its most merciless, and the world was almost white with heat. The air smelled of herbs, bark, and tree sap. Insects buzzed lazily in the high grass, stunned by the summer sun. We lounged in the shadows of the trees, resting after a busy night. We were ready for war. I was restless, repeating my warm-up routine over and over. A fight was inevitable, and I wanted to be prepared. There were so many of us. People kept coming to the camp, asking questions, looking for ways to help. Students, activists, even Greenpeace, with banners reading "Stop Logging" and "Respect EU Law." They'd all seen our live streaming and came there to help. The Pushcha was watching us. Lucia was watching us. Every time a gust of wind was bringing the wet smell of the forest to my nostrils, I felt her strong, steadfast presence. She knew what we were doing. We were doing everything in our power to save her. I could feel the immense presence of the forest, whose life was a myriad of smaller lives interconnected into one superorganism. And then I looked at us and them and smiled bitterly, because I realized that both sides of the conflict saw the others as the sickness and themselves as the cure. Looked at the shiny new harvesters lurking across the clearing. Loggers milled around them like ants over a disturbed anthill. The pressure was almost palpable, and tempers were flaring. The police were nervous, huddling in groups and shouting at each other, and everyone who was in their way. They clearly didn't want to be there. It was apparent that they were waiting for something. Everyone knows what to do? Olga asked, looking at my pack. I'll keep the security guards occupied, nodded Lisa. And I'll guard the Pushcha's perimeter, growled Daniel. I glanced at the weasels. The weasels were in their positions among the protesters, as agreed. That left the cops to me. I'd kept my eyes on them. I'll keep my eyes on the cops, I said, and we'll make sure that the activists are safe. That's not the plan, Olga reminded me with a predatory smile. Deal with the cops, and then we burn the harvesters. It reached a boiling point when the minister arrived for a photo op. I took it as a good sign. We could use his presence to our advantage, in more ways than one. Journalists swarmed around him, praising his balanced forestry policy as they steered clear of the ugly harvesters. In hindsight, you could argue what happened next set a chain of events in motion that had life-changing consequences for many. No, I was wrong. It had all started thousands of years earlier, when the glaciers retreated, when a bird brought the first acorn to where the Pushcha now grew, when the first humans decided to settle in the forest. The members of my sept had already moved to their positions, and I also had my part to play. I jumped on a tree trunk, turned on the megaphone, and shouted our message for the last time. Save the forest. Stop the logging. There were cheers, and I saw the police take a few steps back. And then someone threw a Molotov cocktail at the harvesters from behind me. Flames engulfed the machine, and before they died down, a barrage of flaming bottles and stones followed. When the real fight began, the adrenaline kicked in, and the world split into freeze frames. Let's change. Let's go Glabro. My muscles spasmed and rearranged themselves, my jaw cracked and my mouth filled with blood. I clenched my fists and claws drove into my palms. Panting and whimpering, I changed. I was more than human, wolfish, strong, scary. Saw a young man in work overalls staring at me with a terrified expression, an axe raised in his hands. We struggled and I quickly overpowered him. It was only when I stood up that I noticed the blood running down my side. The cops were coming. Cops were running our way, shouting orders, batons raised, faces red with anger. Let's make them run. I smashed into them, punching and kicking until they dropped their batons and ran. I looked around the battlefield. The situation was looking good. The cops were retreating. dragging a few activists with them, and we were advancing. Soon the whole clearing would be under our control. It was time for the final blow. Let's go back and save our friends. Cops were closing in on a group of activists, heavily equipped men against teenagers, old women and clueless hipsters. Batons appeared above the crowd and then disappeared again. The air was heavy with pepper spray. The cops were angry and scared. Some of them didn't want to be there, and they weren't sure if they were doing the right thing. But orders were orders, and it was too late to back down now. So they fought harder to quiet their doubts. It was time to act. And I was fed up with overthinking it. I was Gaia's voice, and it was time to inspire some epics. Let's beat them to a pulp. I started running. The cops reached for their pepper spray and tasers. Their batons bounced off me. Oh, a growing Krynos. Alright. I spasm as my bones grow and reset. Claws break out from my fingers and fangs sprout in my mouth. I taste blood. I roar in pain as muscles move under my skin. I grow. I'm an 8-foot-tall killing machine. Their batons bounce off me as I claw my way through the cops. I push through until I am standing between my friends and the police. Grab the nearest cop's arm and twist. As he crumples screaming, I'm on the others. I hear howls rising into the sky, and I howl with them. And here's the epilogue. Alright, I knew we were close to the end. Sun was setting, everything was red. The logging site was littered with corpses, a mass of entangled bodies. Dead people, dead trees, dead machines, and in the middle of it all was us, the Garou, panting and covered in blood. Our patrons circled around each other, just like in the dream I had a few weeks before. It was quiet, the logging had stopped. We'd won. There was no one else to fight. The battle had been hard fought and was worthy of a song. The victory was sweet, but the war had only just begun. I knew there would be more battles. We'd stopped this attempt, but the logging industry wasn't going to give up. Wood was money, and there would be more people and more machines sooner or later. Our pictures were all over the news. We had to lay low for a while. We gathered in the clearing in which I'd first woken up as a Garou. Lisa stood in the middle of the clearing, the wolf and the weasel circling her and each other cautiously. Olga, honey, she said, looking at the Black Fury. It is time to decide the Sept's fate. Olga nodded. There was determination in her eyes, the whites shining in her blood-covered face. I'll kill anyone who tries to stop us now, she laughed, just like I killed Cornell. The rifts that divided our Sept proved inconsolable. That night we fought. Harsh words were exchanged, fangs were bared, but no blood was spilled. Later, Kim and Pat decided to return to Germany. They said that they preferred a slight chance for a change to the most heroic of stupid, glorious deaths. Oh shit. Yeah, I'm not vibing with Olga, so I'm thinking Maya's gonna go with them. A few days later, I decided to follow them. I felt like there was nothing else keeping me in town. Lisa and our patrons made sure that we did right by Garou law, and the Sept matters were resolved. But more had happened that summer. They didn't cover everything that had happened that summer, though, so though, so some consequences would have to unravel with time. Anya and Bartek were still alive. Despite everything that had happened, Anya and Bartek were still alive. I counted that as a small victory. We would disappear from each other's lives slowly, our paths too different to keep up with each other. But it was all still ahead of me. For now, the first chapter of my new life was coming to an end. I'd come because the Pushcha had called me. I tried to heed that call, I really had, but had I tried hard enough? I loved the Pushcha, and I knew she was watching over me. The story is almost over. This might be a good time to take the last look at the character sheet. Well, here we go. Galliard, Cleoth, part of the Bonars. Well, I'm guessing we're formally part of the Mourning Wolfmother pack now. We've got some good glory, some good honor, a little bit of wisdom. All this stuff. Well, there we go. And all these relations. Oh boy. Alright. I was a wolf. Oh, the night after the battle I had a dream. Later turned out to be my last one about the forest. I am a wolf, running for the Pushcha. There are no thoughts, just the joy of the run. Hares flee as I approach, birds sing overhead, trees give way to high grass, and I enter a clearing. I jump over creeks, cows stare at me, alarmed. I run along a gravel road between fields. There are houses, but I still steer clear of them. The gravel turns to asphalt, houses become taller, cars rush by, and I have to hide. The air smells of smoke and plastic. I find a place behind a dumpster, hidden from the noise of the city. I sleep. When I wake up, the Pushcha is but another dream. Well, there we go. Cubs gather around the fire and listen to the story of Maya Baradich, known among the Garu as Pessin of the Bonars, Galliard of the Mourning Wolfmother pack. She sang songs of glory. Maya won her first battle and stopped the Harvesters, but that was just the beginning of the war. The Pushcha was safe, at least for a while. The first protests against the logging of the forest took place in 2016. The game was loosely inspired by those events. All characters and events depicted in this game are entirely fictitious. And there we go. That is... Oh god, that's loud. Fuck. Alright. Well, that's the game. Hold on. Let's really quick. I'm gonna try and figure out what to play next. I'm actually entirely unsure what to play next. I think. Well, we've got a few options at least. Hold on. Let's stop that bright gray. There we go. All right. Yeah, I think we have a few options. I mean, I might as well just switch over to something simple like Minecraft or something. I'm not sure. Oh wait, no, I actually have to set that back up again. I don't think I'm really prepared to play anything else. I'd have to prepare it on stream. But you know what? That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I guess I could play more Minute of Islands, but I don't think I was really vibing with that. I mean, hell, I think I don't know what to play, so I think I might just end it early today. Just a short little stream, and we'll just call it a day. Yeah, let's just call it a day. So thanks everybody for hanging out.
Hello there.
Sorry for the short stream, but I hope everybody enjoyed Heart of the Forest. I definitely did. Oh, thank you for the follow, K-Night Chronicles. Hello, hello. You just caught the tail end of the stream. Unless you stuck around for a while, then thanks for the follow. Yeah. Oops. yeah, we were just wrapping up Heart of the Forest, and I have no idea what to play next, so we're just gonna end early, and we'll see what my friends are doing. Let's see what's going on. Well, we'll do something related to tabletop at least. I've got my friend Priest Can running some Curse of Strahd. So he's got his own D&D game. But anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed Heart of the Forest. I am glad I played it a second time around. I wish it wasn't so short, but I still stand by. I feel like it's a good introduction to most of Werewolf as a setting. At least it's a good start to kind of get the vibes of it, I think. But yeah, it's a good read. It's a good story. I wish it was longer. That's something I'm always gonna say. I wish it was a little bit longer. And I think we're gonna go raid Tech Priest Can and kind of shift over to some D&D 5th edition. He's running Curse of Strahd, so feel free to stick around and vibe there. I'm gonna go ahead and raid, and have a good day, everybody. Shorter stream than normal, but next time I'll know what I'm gonna play next. I've been kind of indecisive since Monday, unfortunately, but I'll figure it out tomorrow. And until next time, see you all around and have a good evening.